Morning, everybody. It is 8:11 a.m., October 3rd. Welcome to my channel. Market's crazy. All right, market's crazy. And if you looked at my live stream yesterday, let me show you something real quick on yesterday. And yesterday, I didn't really have a trade set up, but I talked about this earlier in the morning. Okay. That the overnight inventory in the NASDAQ was 100% net long and opened up at the top of the session. This generally means a nice correction is going to happen. How big, I don't know. But it's never easy to trade this because look, it just literally opened. It's called an open drive lower. And that drove down. Same in the ES. Okay. 100% net long in the overnight. At the top of the range, we opened. Drive. Right? That took all the froth out of the markets. All right. I talked about this in my pre-market yesterday. Okay. Now, of course, we were gapping up. Now we're back in the middle of the range this morning. Okay. Now this market is nuts. It pretty much is nuts. All right. I mean, new all-time highs yesterday. Pulled back where? We pulled back to the previous weeks and months highs and got bought. And that was not, it was a very weird market yesterday. Internals were actually weak and they never got strong. They recovered, and then what happened was there was like short covering basically in the middle of the day. In the middle of the day, you could tell by just the movement of the market. It was just people who were short were just covering. It was a very, very melt up. It wasn't a rocket. All right. Very weird yesterday. All right. For the market to be weak like that, stay weak, and just couldn't really push lower. Okay. That's our markets from yesterday, right? Now today we don't have non-farm payrolls or unemployment, but I guess this ISM data that comes out, the PMI, the services or whatever, there's one at 9:45 and one at 10 a.m. I guess they just come out. They're already there or something because they're going to come out. So we do have that. We just don't have non-farm payrolls in unemployment today. Okay. Checking in, Coinbase, that trade has been a rocket. And I'll explain later what the decision I have to make today to lock in some profits. And hopefully it makes sense. Like I said, I know it's advanced, but it will make sense. All right, trust me. I just want to make sure that if anybody has questions on it, ask me in my Discord. You can always ask me in my Discord, and I'll do a good job of answering the questions. I understand probably right off the bat, it's like, whoa, what the heck is this guy doing? A reverse mullet? Yeah. So, like I said, I know at one point I would look at these spreads and be like, I don't know, understand what's going on. How do I adjust this? Trust me. I was in a spot at one point where I was like, what's a call? What's a put? I don't understand it. What is this? I don't get it. So trust me. And in my future, trust me, I have to work on it. Probably going to put out some type of courses. All right? That to try to break it down in layman's terms to help people put trades on like I can put on. Okay? So that will be coming in the future. Don't know when. I'm not making a promise. But that is what I really want to do. Okay? Because the knowledge is there. Okay? The knowledge is there. And it's really powerful because there's like spreads that are just called debit spreads. They're easy. Credit spreads are kind of easy, but when you get into the reverse mullets, the broken wing butterflies, the back spreads, all these other advanced things, I mean, I guess you can call strangle strat, all those stuff. There's a purpose for all of them. All right, and it's kind of cool because you can make moves when the market moves sideways, which is kind of cool. So anyway, so yeah, crazy markets. We're in crazy markets. Let's just get right into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Okay, that's how I shape my game plans, and I do that in equities and futures. Okay, I also use Anchor VWAPs. Market Internals lets me know what's under the hood when the market opens. Bookmap helps me execute, and I use my weekly expected move indicator. 70% of the time, market closes within that expected move range. Now, this week we have some outliers. We have some outliers, folks. All right. Now, what I explained about the expected move is whenever you really push the bounds and rip through, like Coinbase did, kind of Nvidia and Eli Lilly, it like really can go propulsion, really like a jet. That's what Coinbase did. That's what Eli Lilly did, because it wasn't priced in, and once you reach a level and it keeps going and going and going, oh boy. Right? So that's what Coinbase is doing right now, and like I said, I'm going to go over that. Okay? Now, hopefully, you enjoy this every morning, and you can have your morning coffee. Let me explain what's going on in the markets, the market story, the economic calendar, the market news, the leaders and laggards, right? Then I get technical analysis. Then we go long and short trade scenarios, and then NASDAQ and ES futures. Okay, so hopefully you can subscribe, set that alert. I think I do a decent job of summing up what happened yesterday, what's happening today. I would love to listen to me. And I'm being honest there. I mean, give me honest feedback. I don't know if Documents is here, Amalio's here, Rosita's listening. Even Mark comes in every now and then. Any comments would be welcomed. If like you're like, I don't know if I like what you do. I mean, to me, I feel like it's pretty nice. I give you the market news. Today maybe we go over some upgrades, downgrades, and give you the raw deal of the markets. Okay, I think anybody can benefit from it. Now, if you want to get more advanced, you want to get more intraday commentary, more granular, right? Good morning, Chief. More granular, right? More granular. All right, you're going to join my Discord. Okay, that is Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? All right, now to give you a little preview of my Discord and what you get for free is every morning I give you the hot link to my feed, right? Once the feed is over, I bookmark the scenarios for you, okay? When the market's open, I'm giving you videos. I'm giving you my intraday commentary, right? And then I'm giving you my trades. Now, futures trades yesterday, I had a trade on. It looked good. Then I got stopped. So, in this short, I really liked it. I could pick reasons why I didn't like it, but I kind of liked it. So, but I got stopped, right? However, my options trades that I've been putting in here, right? So Coinbase yesterday, beast. This was over 400 at one point, profit, right? And look at that candle. Folks, that is a lot of consolidation to now rip up. Woof. And right up into this gap fill. All right, so it filled that gap. That's what I wanted. That's why I put the trade on. Okay. And you get my options trades. Now, you also get trade recaps, right? Where I do an educational little short on my trades. I'm going to keep doing this, the weekend outlook. Right, you can see Nvidia coiling, AMD, Avgo. That's the short I had this week that I took off for a profit. All right. And weekly expected move indicator here. Go to this part. Put it on your charts. What are you waiting for? All right. Now, we'll get into the watch list and see what's moving futures, okay? Silver. Woo! I'm loving it. I'm a proud holder of that silver. I wish I would have added more, but I probably will. If this starts getting parabolic and we get a nasty pullback, I probably will add to it. Gold's up 0.44. I'm sorry. Russell's up 0.44. Gold's up 0.43. Crude has been bottoming. It's been bottoming, and crude basically, when it was taking off, right? Crude's a lot of times is the inverse of the markets. And right now, when crude goes down, the market seems to pop up. So keep an eye on crude. Dow up 0.16, 30-year bonds being bought up 0.16, Nasdaq's up 0.11, ES up 0.11, dollar is down 0.07, 10-year yield is down 0.32, Bitcoin's down 0.40. Made in a big move. That's another reason why Coinbase I was long. Ethereum down 0.43, and the VIX is down 1.32%. So nothing really earth-shattering. Silver's got a nice move going. Moving on. Moving on to the Mag 7 Plus here. Who's leading? There was some news with Tesla, so that's up 1.46%. Now Broadcom, I was short that thing. That thing went then all the way to 324, and when I got out, thank God I did, because it ripped. It ripped yesterday really big, up to like 347 almost, but then ripped down. So wild stock, that Broadcom. Meta hit its expected move a couple days ago. Okay, and now it's bounced. That's not a surprise. AMD has hit its expected move to the upside. That is 170 and 41 cents. It broke that yesterday. It broke it yesterday. Okay. Nvidia is also above its expected move for the week. That expected move was 185.73. Amazon actually has been like weak. Now, this is what's crazy about this market. I'm looking at that chart and I'm like, ooh, that might be a nice long, but I don't know. October is, I think, the third most seasonally bearish month. October as well. But October is also known to have good volume and volatility. So we'll see. Okay. Now, is there a laggard? Yes. Google down 0.28, and Apple. I just saw Apple got a downgrade. Okay. Got a downgrade. Now, top sector stocks. Let's look at those. UNH, United Healthcare, is up 1.38%. That's really the only mover that's really anything there. Let's look at the granular list here. We have Reddit up 3.27%. Taiwan Semiconductors almost up 2%. Nothing really shocking there. The laggard, we have GameStop down 4.41, Roblox down 3.67, and Applied Materials down 2%, and Lam Research, that's both Applied Materials and Lam Research, is semis. Okay, so nothing earth-shattering there. All right, I have way more granular lists. We don't need to go into those. Okay. Oh, not to say back up here, the Coinbase is still above yesterday's close, Coinbase. So we'll get into what I'm going to try to do with the Coinbase trade that I have on. Okay. Now we go to sectors. Leading the pack is your discretionary, up 0.35. That's your Amazon, Tesla, your Home Depot. Okay. Then second to that is energy. That's your Chevron, your Exxon, your ConocoPhillips. Financials up 0.19. We have no laggards, folks, this morning. We have no laggards. Okay. We have no laggards. And moving on. All right, let's look at the economic calendar today. Like I said, there's, I guess, some way these stats come out. I guess ISM Services is not government. I guess. Because they're up there. All right, so we were usually going to have unemployment and non-farm payrolls this morning, but we're not. Because the government is shut down. Okay, but we do have 9:45. We actually have Global Composite, Global Services PMI, and then 10 a.m. ISM Services PMI. All right, so I guess they're coming out because they're up there. All right, so that's what we have today. We have some Fed Logan, some Fed Jefferson speaking today as well. Now let's look at the juice. Maybe Trump's doing something today. I don't really see anything. Let's see here. We got Fed speaking, and then just what I told you about ISM and Fed look. No, nothing there. All right, nothing really there. All right. And let's see, text some stock news. Tesla stock gained 1.3, bouncing after the previous session's 5% drop as the electric vehicle announced record quarterly deliveries. Now, the reason that is because of the EV credit you get, I believe, from the government is going to expire. So that's the surge, most likely. Now, Apple stock rose 0.2 after the tech giant said it will remove ICE Block and other apps from its app store that can be used to anonymously report sightings of U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents. But they were not down earlier. They were down. They're down now because they got a downgrade. Now we'll get into that in a second. Let's see. U.S. Rare Earth. Stock jumped 8.7 after CEO Barbara Humpton told CNBC that the company was in close communication with the White House. All right. Applied Materials stock fell 2.3 after the chip gear maker said it expects new U.S. export restrictions. Okay. Occidental Petroleum stock gained 1.1 after the energy company received upgrades from HSBC. Let's see. Rumble stock soared 9.3 after the online video platform entered into a strategic partnership with Perplexity. Interesting. All right. Instacart stock fell 1% after Piper Sandler downgraded its stance. All right. Now let's see if that Apple is in here in the downgrades here. Let's go to upgrades first. Ooh, liking that. I'm liking that. Is that for today? Coinbase has got an upgrade. I am really liking that. Downgrades. Let's see if Apple's in there. And we have to go to another list. BlackBerry. I didn't even still know that they're making phones. BlackBerry. And nothing really in here. Nothing really in here. We'll go to more news, and then we'll go to the thing. All right. U.S. Senate to vote on dueling plans to end shutdown, though neither likely to pass. Let's see here. Payroll data on ICE gives Wall Street newfound free time, but a big problem in the economy. Massive fire erupts in a jet fuel unit at Chevron's Los Angeles refinery. What else here? GIP nears deal to buy Align data centers for about $40 billion. BlackRock-owned Global Infrastructure Partners is in advanced talks to acquire Macquarie-backed Align data centers. All right. Apple, let's see. I've been looking at airlines and they have not been doing good. So, let's see. Apple, all right. Applied Materials, we already talked about. Palantir, and all right. Moving on. We're going to go to the use the news, see where that Apple downgrade is. Let's go to that. That could probably be in there. Let's see, downgrade. Because I just saw it came into my news feed. It's not there. Maybe it's a price target. And if not. Okay. Market chatter. Let's go to market chatter. Let's see if it's there. Nope. Okay, interesting. Let me see if I can go to Apple. No, but I just saw Jeffries downgraded them, so I guess it's not out yet. It's all good. Almost over here. Doesn't matter. I didn't show anything. Okay. What we're going to do now, let's go into just the market internals because they were sure throwing me a curveball yesterday. They were showing me a curveball. So we're going to go right into the market internals recap. Okay. This does not show what this was all saying. These are all red around here. Okay. And even in trading, the VPOC shifted lower here. That's why I was short around. I got short in here. This is SPX, but it's the same price action. And then I got that move. And I said it even when I was in the trade. I said if that's a big wick, that could be shorts profit taking, and then the market melted up. Right? So look at this internals. Look at this weakness. That is the overall market was weak. The top 4 sectors are weak. I can show you real quick the early what I was putting up in my channel here. I want to show you here what they look like. So that 1046, they were not that bad. And then here we go at 1130. You see these internals? Look at all that red. And they were down here. That's why I was like, okay, I think this could go down a little more. And it didn't. It really didn't. Right? So that's your internals. Now, the only outlier that I was mentioning on my channel was the NASDAQ exchange had volume going into up stocks at a ratio of 2.35 to 1, and that really stayed that way all day. But that's the NASDAQ exchange, not the NASDAQ 100. So it's very interesting. I think that's why the market just couldn't go down. Okay? Because in these numbers, they weren't that weak. So interesting. Interesting yesterday. Okay? Very, very interesting. Now, moving on. Daily charts. Let's look at them together. It's good old SPY. Let's bring it up. Boom. That's let's go here. Daily charts. All-time highs. All-time highs. Okay. We dipped our toe into last week's range, last month's highs, and we got bought. So now you got a hammer. Right? Got a hammer. Where are we now? 670.33. 670.33. We're right up at the highs of the range of yesterday. Okay. Futures. You can see that this morning we made new all-time highs in the overnights. Now, one interesting stat yesterday, we didn't make new all-time highs in the RTH session in futures. We made them in the overnight. So very interesting. All right, so again, we have overnight highs, all-time highs. Okay, you can see kind of a doji candle in futures yesterday. All right, let's look at the Qs. Now, the Qs were relatively weaker yesterday. Microsoft really sold off at one point, and Nvidia really didn't do much. Apple sold off and recovered a little bit yesterday. So, NASDAQ right to last week's highs and got bought. It just couldn't go lower. So another hammer candle. Where are we at now? 606.75. 606.75 is right by the close of yesterday. Expected move to the upside is 610.18. 610.18 for today. Okay. The SPY, let's go back to it real quick. Expected move to the upside this week is 673. We're $3 away. Do we hit it today? I don't know. Do we hit it today? I don't know. Let's go to the NASDAQ futures and just see that chart. You can see we made all-time highs this morning, and now we have a doji candle. I'm going to kind of pull them back a little bit. Okay. That is what's going on. Let's just take a look at the RSP yesterday. That's your equal weight. Let's see how that daily chart looks. Finally broke out. I believe that's all-time highs. Yeah, see RSP. So that's a good sign, I mean, for the markets, because this means the overall breadth of the market is getting stronger. And that's healthcare really pumped that up, okay, with the Eli Lilly move. So that is interesting. Remember, we were in this gobbledygook for a while, and RSP, look, finally broke out, made an all-time high. Interesting, right? Interesting. Okay. Now, before I get into anything else, let's go over that Coinbase. Coinbase. Look at that chart. Woo. Look at that consolidation. That is months, folks. Months. This started in August 1st. We're in October. That's why this move was so powerful. That's why the gap was almost filled yesterday. Today, we're right here. Week 372, 373. We're right up in here. And it got an upgrade today. Okay? Remember, my trade is a plan for it to hang out around here by next week, next Friday. Okay? That's where I can bank $1,600. Over $1,600 for a 330 debit. Okay? So look, what did it do? Reminder, broke a downtrend, right? There's the downtrend, big consolidation, over expected move. And now, remember I told you, if you really break away to an unexpected move, there's a lot of short covering here. Okay? and the volume was pretty good yesterday. It was way over. See, the average volume's 8 million. It was 15 million yesterday. See, the volumes is a lot more higher than it is generally. Double the volume. Pretty cool, right? All right. Now, we're going to go over into my trade because right now, let me bring that up for you guys. I'm going to show you what I'm going to plan to do today with Coinbase. Okay. Again, ask me a question. So very simply, I'm in Coinbase, right? Now, I was explaining yesterday, it's a three-legged spread. Now, generally, people just know how to buy calls and puts, right? But the thing I'm highlighting here, notice the 360 calls that I'm in for Coinbase, they would have cost me $885 to put one of them on, right? But I like my discounts. I chose a reverse mullet strategy. And because I sold two 380s at $4.33, right? And then I bought a call at 390s for $3.11. Made my total spread cost me $330, right? I don't have to pay $800. Okay? Now, the spread expanded right now. You can see, let's get rid of the legs. Look at this right here. So if anybody knows options like Rosita, right? If you buy a call at $3.30, my call is double. It's worth $6.61. That's my spread now. That's basically, I break it down. I'm not talking about the legs that I have in it. Just look at my overall spread, just like a call. I bought it for $3.30. It's worth $6.61 right now. I could take it out, take it off right now, and that's 100% profit, right? So, if we look at the risk profile of this strategy, okay, this is how this spread works. Pretty cool. Now, the current price is right here. If it stays in the big triangle here, I tend to make a lot more money next week. If it stays in this area, like I said, max profit is $16.50, I believe. $16.70. $1,670, right? However, remember, if this stock was to drop back below, like right there, 363, I start to lose money. I could lose my 330. I don't think it will do that, right? So what do I do? Right? What do I do? Because it can go to the moon, I get 670. If it stays in this area next week and just hangs out, I can profit really big. So what am I going to do today? Well, my plan today is to roll. Okay? And that simply means this order right here, I have it out. I'm going to roll. And what does that mean? I'm going to take my 360 call that I own at 8.85, right? It's now worth $20.60. Notice $1,175 profit on that leg, right? That's if I bought the 875. That would be a monster profit, obviously. Now, what do? I'll roll that to 370 right here. And what does that do? Well, because the 370s, right, are worth, I'm gonna take a lot of profit in the 360s and roll them higher to a cheaper strike. And what that does is that will give me a credit. Right now, if I did it yesterday, I would have got about $558 credit. So just think about it, right? I'm in this spread, and if I make it a butterfly for next week, now today I'm hoping to get at least $7 or $6. Think about that. I'm still in the spread. If I roll it up, make it a butterfly for next week, right? I will pocket, let's just call it $6. Think about that. I'm going to get paid $600 to turn it into a butterfly. $600. The spread next week could go to zero and I make 300 bucks. But I wouldn't let it go to zero. So let's say I never let it go past the 330 original debit. I make 600 bucks. However, if I change this into a butterfly, I can make an additional money. That means that it would have to stay between 370 to 390 next week. But it's kind of like I don't care if it doesn't go there now. I'll pocket the $600 today. And then I still have a chance to make another thousand, about $700 next week if it was to go to if it was to be at 380 next Friday. Now I know people's heads might be turning on what I'm talking about. Just know that today I can literally lock in gains with rolling this to a butterfly. Okay? And again, I understand what I'm saying might be like, what the heck is he talking about? But I just wanted to share that with you. And the bottom line, all that analysis was pretty much on point with Coinbase. Okay? Bottom line. Now, we're pulling back, folks. We're pulling back. Okay, we are pulling back. All right. We are really pulling back. Nice. All right, let's look at our hourly charts. Okay. Oh, and if anybody's using NinjaTrader, I want to give you some advice. Do not install 8.1.6 or 8.6. Whatever it is. Do not install it. I installed it this morning and it gave me a headache. It was like my computer was like, what the heck? I have a powerful computer. So I was like, what is going on? It wouldn't load my things right. I had to revert back to 8.5. What a nightmare. And then in the AI chat, it said, oh, yeah, a lot of users have been complaining about this. I'm like, Jesus. It's horrible. All right. Hourly charts. Look at this. There's a little demand zone. We're passing that. I'll get rid of that demand here now. Let's get the marker. So we'll get into it. So here's the most traded price of yesterday. Now yesterday, now it's a little different here, right? Because we short it, but that is the most traded price of yesterday. I would look to see if that can hold. That's about, what is that price? 67, 60, probably 67, 79 or something like that. All right. We're pulling back. All right. We're pulling back. So this is last week's highs. We tested it and broke it yesterday, held it in the overnights, pushed up. That's poor structure right there. That is not the best structure. So we can clean that up and maybe go back up. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Now, one thing to note here, look at where value is right now. Okay. All the way down here. And notice the thinned out profile here. Just to give you guys a word of advice, if the market can't bring this most traded price of the week up here, the market tends to go back to value. Okay? The market tends to go back to value. All right? So, let's see here. Now, what I'll do here is this was an anchored VWAP. Here, we'll put a new anchored VWAP on because I want to see from here, and I want to track these buyers today. That's basically the month-to-date anchored VWAP. All right, I don't really need to put that there. Yeah. All right, so we'll track the month-to-date anchored VWAP. You see, we pulled back to it yesterday. Okay, that held the market. So I'm going to track that because that represents buyers. Okay. That represents it's going to track the same as this VWAP from anchor VWAP from here. Okay. Moving on to the Nasdaq. Pulling back as well. Same thing. Most trader price is all the way down here. That's ultimate balance, right? That's ultimate balance. Month-to-date anchor VWAP has not been touched. Yesterday we played with last week's highs, right here, right? Poor structure. We're cleaning it up. We're cleaning that poor structure up. This is the real test here. This demand, this support right here. Most traded price right here. So let's just see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens. This could just be a pullback, and then we break all-time. Remember, all-time highs at overnights are not secure. You usually don't make all-time highs and leave them in the overnight. Okay? So we're in a big demand zone here. Let's see if we pull back, and let's see what happens. Alrighty. Let's move on to market profile, volume profile. Man, that new software for Ninja, wow, that's horrible. I can't say that anymore. Can't say that enough. Horrible. Like really bad. All right, we're going to look at this volume profile, market profile now. Let's analyze. Oh my God, there's a dog next to us that's barking his head off. I hope you guys don't hear that. It's a little small yappy dog. Let's see here. Now, let's look at this profile together. Double distribution here. Got excess, you got value area all up in here. Then you got another distribution. All right, so what was I saying? Your boy Steve was saying earlier, right? Most traded price of the week is still 67.12. However, we have a contender here at around 67 65, about right here. That if we were right there now at the most traded price yesterday. If we keep trading there, this will push this up, and that would be bullish. It's close. It's already close to taking it. That will be bullish. Okay, that would confirm that value followed price. Price took value and pulled it up with it. Okay, if you can't do that, you go back. Okay, you go back. Now, look, we were gapping up at one point. Overtime, all-time highs are at in the overnight, not secure. Also has a bullish imbalance to the profile. Okay. Now, we're back at yesterday's close. So, futures is flat right now. Okay. Futures are flat. All right. You can see the week, month-to-date anchor view up saved the market yesterday. Right there in that demand zone. Right there. Okay. So now we're going to look for some nice little reference points here. Okay. Of course, we got yesterday's lows with this demand zone and the month-to-date anchored VWAP. We have another demand zone here. And that encompasses overnight lows, the close, and last week's highs. Okay. I'm sorry, not the close. Last week's highs. Okay. What do we have here? Another demand. Right at yesterday's most traded price, the close. And might be the new most traded price of the week. And of course, we have supply right here at the most traded price of the overnights. And then above that is all-time highs. Okay. Now we do have our value is still down here. 67.12s in this area. Okay. So the no-go zone for bulls is under 67.41s. ES does not want the market to be under here. That will cause panic most likely. We'll have to see. Let's break out the session and get into scenarios here. All right, look at that. consolidated, went away from the most traded price of the overnight. This is pulling back. That was kind of not the best structure. And now we're going to deal with here, right? Can the most traded price of yesterday and this contender of the most traded price of the week hold the markets? If it does, it's bullish. If it does, it's bullish. All right, let's get into scenarios, folks. Scenarios. All right. We're going to start off with the bullish case, the bulls. Right off the bat, right to a key level, demand zone, and the close, most traded price of yesterday, and the contender of the most traded price of the week. You hold in here, retest this. This is poor structure as well. You make new all-time highs. That is pretty basic. Now what sucks, I'm saying that right now. If that happens in the first 5 minutes, I'm not going to be in it. And it could. I just don't like trading that. That's crazy volatility. That's not a big edge for myself. But a lot of times when my pre-market plans or what I say comes out like mint. But sometimes it's not a trade setup. Okay? Now, what else can we go for? What I'm saying here. Now, we also have, if we drop, say we dropped a little further. Now we're into this other demand zone with last week's highs, right? But we have a support here at yesterday's value area low and the month-to-date anchored VWAP. I would say that's another buy point. Okay, now if the market comes down here, it would be mildly weak. Here's the bear trap. If we go into this demand, test yesterday's lows, try to break it, recover higher lows, we're going to probably go back at least to here for today. Underneath there, I'm not interested in any longs. Okay? At all. Shorts. The hard to come by shorts. Okay? We know we have supply up here. We know we have a bunch of demand in here. This is not going to be easy to, unless the market just falls apart, it is not going to be easy to just cut through all that. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of volume that transpired right where we're at now. So, not easy. So what I would say is get this push up, maybe break this overnight highs by a little. You break the supply, but then you get selling coming in. Then you get a lower high. This is where you could take advantage of that move right to here. This is going to be hard to cut through. If you do cut through it, retest it, that could be the short. And now what's going to happen is if you cut through this is the real test. The 6741s, that's the last line of defense for this market. If we cut through that and the market continues to get weak, we're going to go back to the 6712s. Back to value. All right, that's ES. Moving on to NASDAQ. Moving on to the NASDAQ. All right. So, price right now is at yesterday's close. It's so making futures flat right now. Okay, it's unchanged. Okay, we do have a beautiful level here. We don't have this well, we kind of do maybe, but more exact level here. Really exact. Okay, look at this level here. It's your 24993s. We have a demand here. Okay, 24993s is your defense for bulls. You also have month-to-date anchor VWAP in this. You have last week's highs in this. Bulls do not want to break that level. Okay? They do not want to break that level. Now, NASDAQ was relatively weaker yesterday, even though the price structure was odd. Okay? You do have here, you have value area low also in here. Okay? Now, what we do have in this demand is the close from yesterday. Okay, 50% retracement of yesterday. Okay, you do have yesterday's most traded price right here as well. All right, and we do have supply up at all-time highs in the overnights. Remember, that's not secure. Most traded price of the overnights up here. All right, and we do have our return to value, which would be around the 24839s around here. That's ultimate balance. That's still value. Okay, notice the market's running out of participants. See, you can make this slope. See, it's running out, running out, running out. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Let's break it out and get into scenarios, and I'll be done with you guys today. Okay. Let's see. Pulling back into this demand, right? We're going to do scenarios. And we're going to start with the bull scenario. All right. We're right at yesterday's close. Right into this consolidation, right into this demand zone. This could be the buy. Kind of orderly selling. We can clean that up pretty good. So basically, market holds. Maybe we retest the close and we get that move to make all-time highs. And maybe we just melt into Friday, into the weekend. Right? We also can pull back, test the 50% retracement of yesterday. Also yesterday's most traded price. Bounce, higher low, move up. Last line of defense, remember, if we do fall down here, the market's probably going to be a little weak here. This could be the bear trap where we tap the month-to-date anchored VWAP. People think we're going, but then we recover, do a higher low, and probably trade up in this range. That's the scenarios I'm looking for in the NASDAQ longs. All right, short side. Short side. Short side. So you can get this long, right? Boop, boop. Make new longs. Everybody's happy. And then you do a lower high. Come through. Remember, if we do a nice orderly buying here, you can come right through, take out that swing, that support, go right to yesterday most traded price. This would cause a little panic, okay? You could find yourself testing yesterday's lows, 24993s. Remember, that is the defense for the bulls. If you crack this, whoop, and start hanging out down here, could move back to the 24830s. Back to value. And that would cause panic. This would be panic zone. Okay? That would be panic zone. Don't know what's going to happen. Our markets don't really look that weak, but that could change on the open. That's why I use market internals. Okay? That's it, folks. So, hope everybody enjoyed this morning. If you did, smash that like button. That would mean a lot to me. Help my channel out. Okay, and as always, please join me every morning. I'll give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards, technical analysis, and I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures. Also went over my Coinbase options trade. Okay, I will continue to do more options trades and not ignore that skill set that I have. Okay, and hopefully people get more involved. You could sim these trades that I also put on. You could sim them. You don't have to be in them. Sim it. Thinkorswim, it's free. Paper trade them. Now, I have to admit, Thinkorswim is not the friendliest for putting on these multi-leg spreads. It's not as easy as Tasty Trade that I use. Now, I don't use Tasty Trade. I started with Thinkorswim, just to let you everyone know. I had to work with that way of trading options in Thinkorswim. I can do it. Like, it's easy for me. But the more app-friendly GUI is Tasty Trade. Now, unfortunately, you can't sim trade in Tasty Trade. That's how you know I'm showing you my real trades, because you can't do sim trades. You can't paper trade, but you can in Thinkorswim. Now, I know some people, I think Rosita uses Webull. I'm not sure if you could do spreads, advanced spreads, because you have to be approved for it. So I understand that as well. But in sim, you can do whatever you want. Okay? You could do whatever you want. All right? Now, of course, if you want to join me later today when the market opens, you're going to join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator, folks. Let me guide you. I will not misguide you. I'm telling you right now, I will not. Okay? I don't get lulled into price action. I don't get faked out with price action. I look at structure. I look at the internals. I look at the big picture. Okay? One little minute bar doesn't mean nothing to me. Another 5-minute bar doesn't mean nothing to me. It's structure. Structure is always king. Now, don't get me wrong. Price action is important. But the structure usually is what holds. Okay? Structure and the internals is what usually is. You can look at everybody's cards like if you're playing poker. Okay? All right? So everybody have a great weekend if I don't interact with you today. Okay? And hopefully see you in my Discord. If I don't see you, I'll see you Monday morning. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend.